What if every single American, no matter how much they earned or where they lived, started receiving $1,000 every single month? Imagine the possibilities. Some families might finally afford groceries without putting items back at the register, while others could put extra money toward paying rent or medical bills. But the question is, would this type of program solve problems or create new ones? That's the debate behind a proposal being talked about today under the name Social Security for All. Before we dive in, let me ask you directly, does this sound like a fair idea to you? By the end of this video, I'll be asking you to give me a simple yes or no in the comments. I want to see what this community thinks. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit like and subscribe to Social Security Post so you never miss important updates about your benefits and your future. The name itself grabs attention. When people hear Social Security for All, they immediately think about the program they've paid into for decades. Traditional Social Security is a benefit earned through payroll taxes, a safety net designed for retirees, survivors, and disabled Americans. But what's being proposed here isn't actually Social Security at all. Instead, it's essentially a nationwide version of universal basic income, where the government would send every American a monthly check, whether or not they've ever paid into the system. The proposal being discussed involves $1,000 every month for every citizen. It's not tied to retirement age, disability status, or work history. Everyone would get the same amount, from the person struggling on zero income to the executive making millions of dollars a year. That's why many are calling this idea controversial. It blurs the line between earned benefits and universal entitlements. And for millions who worked hard to qualify for Social Security, the name alone feels misleading. This concept isn't entirely new. Back in 2019, the city of Stockton, California, became one of the first in the nation to launch a Guaranteed Basic Income (GBI) pilot program. Selected residents received monthly checks with no strings attached, and the results were fascinating. Families who participated were able to buy food more easily, pay bills on time, and even reduce stress levels. Many found new stability in their lives, and the program quickly gained attention nationwide. Since then, similar GBI pilots have popped up across the country, especially after 2020, when the pandemic exposed how vulnerable many households were. These programs usually targeted smaller groups, low-income residents, single parents, or families in struggling communities. And the results were consistent. Providing direct, unconditional cash made a measurable difference in people's lives. These programs became proof to policymakers that guaranteed income can work in certain circumstances. Here's where the difference matters. Guaranteed basic income is targeted. It usually goes to people who need it most, those living paycheck to paycheck, parents trying to raise kids, or workers facing sudden job loss. On the other hand, universal basic income casts a much wider net. It gives the exact same check to everyone, whether they're broke, middle class, or wealthy. That's why critics argue UBI wastes money by sending payments to those who don't actually need them. Imagine sending a $1,000 check to someone making $70,000 a year, or even $20 million. It may sound fair on the surface, but it doesn't actually solve inequality. It just distributes money evenly, regardless of need. That's why many experts say GBI is far more effective. It channels resources to where they will actually change lives, rather than sending checks to those already financially secure. The debate between these two models is at the heart of why Social Security for All sparks such strong opinions. Over the past few years, there have been serious attempts to bring UBI to the national level. In late 2024, voters in Oregon were asked to decide on a statewide universal income program. If passed, it would have been the very first UBI system in the United States, providing monthly checks to every resident. Ultimately, the proposal failed, but it revealed just how close the idea is to entering mainstream policy. At the federal level, lawmakers have floated similar ideas before. One of the most well-known was the Support Act, which proposed $1,200 per adult and $600 per child every month for 5 years. While it never passed, the proposal showed that serious discussions about ongoing payments are taking place in Washington. And even though these bills often die quietly, they tend to resurface again and again, especially when the economy faces pressure. Names carry power, and calling this idea Social Security for all is what has stirred so much debate. For seniors and people with disabilities who spent decades paying into Social Security, the name feels misleading, even offensive. Traditional Social Security is earned, and every check represents years of work and payroll contributions. To suddenly attach that name to a brand new cash payment program feels like erasing the sacrifices millions have already made. On the other side, advocates argue that the name makes it easier to explain to the public. Almost everyone knows what Social Security is, so branding UBI under that label might make it more appealing. But here's the real question for you. Does this name honor the spirit of financial security, or does it disrespect the people who truly earned their Social Security benefits? Drop your answer in the comments. I really want to see what this community thinks. There's another fascinating idea that's been discussed alongside UBI, the negative income tax. Instead of sending checks to everyone, this system would measure household income against the national median. Anyone earning below that median would get monthly payments to help close the gap. For example, if the median household income is $75,000 and someone earns $63,000, they would receive $12,000 spread over the year, about $1,000 a month, to bring them closer to the average. Now imagine someone making only $10,000 a year. Under this system, they'd be $65,000 below the median, meaning they could receive roughly $5,000 a month to bridge the gap. While this idea is intriguing, it raises questions about fairness, cost, and practicality. Still, it's worth noting that many economists see it as a more efficient alternative to UBI because it targets those truly below the line while avoiding unnecessary payments to the wealthy. The push for UBI and GBI didn't come out of nowhere. The rise of automation and artificial intelligence has created fears that millions of jobs could disappear in the coming decades. As machines and software take over more roles, people are asking, how will workers survive if traditional jobs dry up? Guaranteed income programs are being floated as one solution to this coming challenge, ensuring no one is left without a safety net. Think of the shift like this. In the past, Social Security was created to protect retirees and disabled workers. But in the future, guaranteed income programs might exist to protect workers displaced by technology. That's why many experts believe we'll eventually see some form of nationwide GBI or UBI in the United States. The only question is what form it will take, and whether it will be called something misleading like Social Security for all. So, here's where we stand. Social Security for all sounds like an expansion of the program millions rely on, but in reality, it's a proposal for universal basic income under a familiar name. For some, this feels inspiring. For others, it feels like it undermines the hard-earned benefits that seniors and people with disabilities count on today. Now I want to hear from you. Do you support the idea of $1,000 a month for every American? Or should we focus on helping only those in need? Leave a simple yes or no in the comments. And don't forget, please like this video, subscribe to Social Security Post, and share it with someone who might find this debate interesting. We'll keep following these conversations closely because one thing is certain. The future of income programs in America is changing, and it will affect all of us.